Jason won that match against Shane, and Shane's the king, and he went up and stood in his chair. You don't stand in the king's chair.
Welcome back to another Wisconsin-only episode of the Cue It Up podcast. And for this week, I am going to be doing an interview, a joint interview, with the WSPA representatives from, the Wisconsin State Pool Players Association. So I am joined by Jeff Martin and Gregg Andler. How you guys doing?
Good. Hey, Nate. Thanks for having us.
So why don't you guys give your roles with the organization and kind of what your responsibilities are?
I'll start with that. I'm president, so I don't do a whole lot.
Delegation.
I guess I was involved like this year. We went up and toured the place before it was even opened, where we had the venue this year, working with Dean Raisler on the events and where we're having them at. I know Jeff's involved in that too. Different questions that people have and issues as they come up. So, we as a board really, I feel, work together quite well and discussing things and having meetings. And I'll let Jeff go into his role, but I know Jeff does a great job with a lot of the charts and the data as far as the payback and the added money. So I'll let him talk about that.
Oh yeah, I like to do a lot of the number crunching, the payouts and added money and distribution, and I try as hard as I can to handle the ratings, despite what you guys might read online. Yeah, Gregg, you handle a lot of the venue touring with Dean, and I don't get to see a lot of that stuff. But
all right, so Gregg, you kind of hinted that you got to go to the venue before it actually was opened up, and that is because this is the first time we've actually been in this venue. And for a player in the event, I would say it actually struck me a lot as being very similar to Olympia. I didn't unfortunately get to do any of the nightlife while I was there because we were playing really late into the nights every night. But I know that was one of my favorite parts about Olympia was everything was connected and you didn't have to go outside. You could kind of just exist in your own little microcosm of pool. And the bar was fun there too. So that was my favorite part about Olympia. This place is very similar to that in a sense that you never have to leave. Everything's right there and you could just walk to wherever you need to go. As a generality, what was some of the feedback that you got from the players as far as the new venue? And are we going to be staying here in the future?
Well, some of the feedback I got was exactly what you talked about. They liked the fact that once you parked, you were there. That was one of the issues we had when we played in the Dome and the Dells there, that everybody had to drive or take a shuttle over. So you just couldn't park and walk. So that was what the plus was. And yes, people made comments to me there that, man, we miss Olympia. Well, Olympia had issues with hot water and stuff, but what they liked about it was when you got done shooting for the day, you walked by and there the bar was, and you went in and had some cocktails with your friends and had a good time. And so I, like you, Nate, was in the pool room till late at night and didn't get to see how busy the bar was. I did talk to the gentleman, Matt Taken, who's from the Visitors Bureau and who we worked with. I asked him how the businesses around there, what the comments were. And he told me in an email that the business that he talked to said they saw, people were coming and spending money and having a good time. So he was real happy with it. And they were going to see if they could do more to promote us in the future, to maybe either do some deals or do whatever to get people, to even enjoy it more. So overall, I think it was a plus. You're right. At a new venue, we've had issues with, this year with like the temperature people weren't happy with. And some of these places we have to go to work and work with their engineers. It's not just turning a thermostat up or down. So it's not as easy as it used to be. And it's working some of the bugs out with a new venue. Regarding this here, we are planning to be back here. Next year we're in Wausau, and then the next year after that we'll be back here in Appleton again is the plan. So learning and knowing what we know now, trying to go to work and work with the facility and improve things and make it better. So that's our plan.
Okay, so we can talk a little bit about the event itself. It was advertised as 40,000 plus added for the event, and there was a bunch of different events that you could actually partake in. So did you want to talk about some of the money added and the events themselves, Jeff?
Yeah, certainly. We had starting off on Wednesday, we had the 2 Scotch doubles events. And then, of course, the rotation all started on Wednesday as well. Thursday started the 8-ball events, and Friday team events, and Saturday was the second chance events. Through all of those, in total, we added just under $43,500 all in.
That's a crazy large amount of money. That's obviously delegated out into each individual bracket and each individual division, so it's not all going into one, of course, but that's pretty impressive for an organization that formed maybe 10 years ago, and now you guys are already adding $45,000 almost to your events. That's crazy.
Well, and that's one comment that I'd like to make, Nate, is that when people talk about why don't you have it here in Madison at the Coliseum or the Alliance Center or other places, and they don't realize, we work with these facilities and the venue to either accommodate us, give us a deal on either not charging us or a break on the room so that we're not paying all this money and we're able to add this money back into the event. And that's what our goal is to run a great event and add money back into it and put it back to the pool players, not putting into, the other businesses, as far as the venue. Yeah, you can rent some of these facilities, but you're paying thousands of dollars a day. And then people go, where's the money? Well, yeah, we're right here, but the money's gone then. So, that's what was a little frustrating this year was, the venue as far as the door and the door opener or closure being damaged that first night we were there. And I know people were like, how do you know for sure it was us? Well, we were the only people in that venue in the expo center. So it was somebody from our organization that did it. And, the door and the closure is approximately a $2,500 repair or replacement. So it's money that comes out of the prize money, the entry, the money added back to the event. And, that's what's frustrating about it. We go through a lot of work to try to raise money and add it to the event and keep the payouts high.
You guys still have no idea who did that?
No.
Still no leads on the door. I've been in contact with Joel, the facility manager at Fox Cities Exhibition Center, and conveniently half of their cameras are out. We might have a shot at the hallway. Today's Monday. He is going to call me back on Wednesday with some sort of update. But he did tell me if he can at least get a shot of the hallway and, we do get some footage. He did tell me I could go there and peruse through the footage and try to find something usable.
So you guys actually, and this is part of your job, Gregg, is you actually do some of the negotiating with these different places for deals or added money or both. And what does something like this mean for the future of working with this facility? Because obviously, if this $2,500 door doesn't that we don't find out who did it, basically, that is going to be on the WSPA to basically, I guess, pay for. So what does that mean for the future? Does that mean that just comes out of added money in future events, or how does that work? Just to get the listeners an idea and the people in Wisconsin who, I guess, think everything needs to be free and handed to them. What does that actually mean for when a situation like this arises?
Right. So you're correct. The money, we have a balance of money we carry over every year, and it's, so we don't add and run it down to zero in our balance, because when you are getting the venue in future years, sometimes you have to put money down, a deposit, just as if you were renting a hall for a wedding reception or something. And so they want to make sure you're coming. So we do have money in the account, and that's what that's for. Now, the frustrating part is that instead of having that money and using it towards the pool players or towards the venue, and that it's money to repair something that somebody damaged. And you're right. We're going to pay for it. And, so it's just too bad. And, I saw somebody's comment about I'm not going to, snitch on somebody or turn them in. Well, I don't care. That's fine. But why did you have to destroy a door in the opener and stuff? And they're like, well, the integrity of the door must not have been very good. The door is a very solid door, and I saw it, and how they ripped it apart, how they did it. I'm surprised somebody didn't hear it. If they did it in the hours when we were there, I would have thought it would have made some noise, and that's why we're assuming it happened. After we closed there, we shut the banquet room up or the facility up, but still those bathrooms are open down there and stuff. So, but yeah, as soon as I came down Thursday morning, they showed us it was damaged. And
hey, weren't there a bunch of Madison players out there playing euchre in the lobby real late that night?
No, fake news. Fake news. That never happened. So I guess we can move on from there. If you're a listener to the podcast and you did it, tell them you did it. Fix it. Make it right. Whatever.
Or if you know who did it.
Yeah, of course.
You don't have to have personally did it.
Yeah, I know that it wasn't a listener to the podcast because we have integrity. We would let the people know. Or, well, I guess we're not stupid enough to do something that's like that to begin with. So, so we can move on from that. So the event is actually done. Obviously, this is 2 weeks later. What were some of the numbers that you guys actually experienced? Was it higher, lower than previous years? How did it actually stack up as far as previous events that you guys have ran?
I like to compare these years, like the 2020 years, to the other events in which we ran one altogether event. Not unlike the 2019 where we ran a singles and team event separately. The singles numbers were down just slightly, just about 3%, which is like 30 entries. The Scotch numbers were up about 10 teams or so, like 6%. And the team numbers were up about 7 or 8% as well. So overall, I think with WAMO the following week, I think I'm personally real happy with the numbers.
Well, I was just going to say, it made it tough for both venues or both events when you're one weekend to the other one. And I think I was, real pleased with our numbers this year. And I think I don't know how WAMO did on their event, but I think they had a good event too. So the numbers were there. I'm glad people were able to support both because it's real difficult being gone 2 weekends in a row. That's why some people, picked one or the other because they're like, I can't be gone 2 weekends in a row. Believe it or not, some people's spouses don't want them shooting pool every single weekend, but we're the lucky ones, Nate.
If I remember right, you weren't at WAMO shooting, Greg. Well,
I know. So we had decent good numbers. The venue, it was a good venue. The things, like people complained about the lighting, and in the hotel we had to work with them, and they're understanding now. At first they said we couldn't hang lighting, and then after Dean talked to them and understand how we would do it and what we would do, they're now under the understanding we can do it in the future. So that's one thing we'll have correct in the future in the hotel rooms there, that we'll have tables, we'll have lighting, so it will be properly lit over there. As far as the main venue in the Expo Center, that one with their LED lighting, we're not going to hang lights over there. That's not the plan. But in the hotel, we will. So that'll be an improvement. And some of the people, I played in the room downstairs where the carpet was down there, and people talked about it, but the lights were hung, and it was a nice venue. So I just wanted to say, as far as the tables, I thought, some people complained about some rolls in it. Personally, I played a lot of pool. I didn't experience any. I know there's some people that did. And I thought that John Stitch's guys did a great job setting the tables up. They were there. They would check them. That one time someone was complaining Friday night about a table rolling. And my comment was, nobody said anything until now. So if the players who experienced it didn't say anything during singles, we can't fix it. Nobody's going to go around checking every single roll, and then maybe it's a bad cue ball or something. So in the future, if they do experience a table roll, let us know. We'll have a tech come in and check it and fix it and make it better. So the tables played. I thought personally, I saw some spectacular pool being played. Being up there on the stage and have the 4 tables out in front of us there was a lot of great pool being played to watch, and anybody that didn't watch it missed some really awesome play. Some great, amazing outs by all levels of players.
just to add to that, every now and then, I mean, we do get a handful of people that do come up. I mean, even mid-match, talking about a table roll, and I mean, we'll get a technician on that right away. They will actually go over there right away and level it and check it out.
Yeah, I've had that actually happen. I've actually had that happen in the past as well, so I can vouch for that. It's only, I mean, it's a valley pool table. I mean, we all love pool, and we wish they were diamonds. In an ideal world, they would be diamonds, or at least I would think that. But I think that's kind of the consensus around the game. But I mean, the valleys they're fine. You set them up on Monday or Tuesday, and they're going to settle a little bit. So you can't expect them to play exactly perfect. And if they're not, then I know in the past that I've actually had I've said something to a referee, and I did have a tech within like 3 minutes come over to the pool table and level it out. And after that, it played fine. So you can either have it fixed right away, or you can complain about it for the next 2 hours and say that that's the reason you lost. But there are options. So I guess in the future, if you didn't know it, then just have it done in the future, and you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I guess the glaring question that we have to ask now is, when are the brackets going to be up for next year?
Jeff, is it Monday afternoon?
I can assure everybody that they will be up on or before the event starts.
Wow.
Man, did you guys take some heat for that one?
I mean, next year's going to be easier because, like, anytime we're going into a new venue, we have no idea how many tables we could set. And, we didn't really have a rough idea of tables until late on Monday. So the brackets were drawn up before that, but, we didn't have any of the scheduling done. So really the only thing that would have been, we couldn't even really set the first round of matches, the times yet. So people wouldn't have known what time they played. They would only know who they played. And, once Dean got the table number to Doug, Doug started on the scheduling process. And then, of course, Tuesday was a travel day for Doug and I. So, Doug, it's like a 5-hour drive for him, or 4 or 5 hour drive for him. So, we really didn't even start scheduling until Tuesday evening.
It just goes to show how spoiled we are in Wisconsin, that the biggest complaint we could have about an event is how quick we can see who we're playing against. It's wild how spoiled we are in Wisconsin.
Right.
Well, I just, people, the one question or comment I'd have back on this is, you're talking about the times and being posted, and people are like, well, the cutoff date was 3 weeks ago. Why isn't this up already? Jeff talked about that with the tables, and believe it or not, we have to work with some of the vendors or the league operators to get their entries all into us. Yes, the players have to get them in by a certain time, and the vendors and the league operators, we have to struggle with some of them to get it to us. And so that doesn't help either. And then, people are talking about, why do you have TBAs? TBAs are in there for people who, if somebody lost their entry, and we had it happen this year, the league operator showed up and he's like, I found this on the floor, or I found this in my desk or something, I dropped it, and, and it's like, and that's what TBAs are for. And that's why we do it this way. And that's the benefit of having Tournament Manager, where people can see if their name's on there. And that's why, if they're looking, it really helps them to go, hey, why am I not in the event? I signed up for it. So.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, when players are required to get their entry forms in, nearly a month before the event, we have to go in and verify stats and league weeks and, proper division placement. And, it's a whole lot of player verification just in general. In addition to the, as Gregg said, waiting on the league operator to send in all the paperwork and their payments, et cetera.
Again, it's nice to be spoiled this much in Wisconsin, to where, these are the things that we have to complain about. We don't have to worry about corrupt league promoters or people taking money out of the prize funds, like some of the horror stories you hear from other states. We have to worry about, when are we going to get to see who we play against. So,
do I play at 3:00, or did I get a bye where I don't have to play till 4?
Yes. So thank you guys for putting on smooth events every year.
So the one, the comment I guess I'd like to make, I'd like to thank everybody as far as on the board for the hours they put in, Kim up there, taking care of collecting money, paying money back, running the minis. We try to keep that payout window open a long time there and get people paid. I know I've had people come up there at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, go, I just lost out and got to get paid. Nobody's doing that I know of. But, and then
we did have it open real late, like almost every night though. I will say, I remember paying people out at, 2 a.m. some of those nights.
And then it's nice, the people get their money and they support the vendors out there. I know talking to some of the vendors, they did real well on selling merchandise or, shirts or whatever it was. So that, that's why it's great to pay people back in cash, that they go, hey, I just want a nice payback and I'm going to buy myself that cue I wanted to get always or whatever it is. So, or
a sweet Cue It Up t-shirt.
Exactly. So, the one thing I want to talk about, and I feel he gets, you get frustrated listening to a lot of the complaints on things. It's not like we don't try to make things better and we're trying to run a good event. I just want to say, I know Jeff puts a lot of hours and time into pool ratings, looking at players, who do we move up? Who do we not move up? And the part of it that people don't understand is that, you can go, well, we'll just use the Fargo system and then everybody's this number. Well, how did you do in the event? I guess to me, it makes a difference if you're playing singles every year and you're not cashing and you get moved down versus I never come and play singles and all I do is play team event but I don't want to get moved up. Well, if you keep playing in a team event and you're cashing high or winning it, you're going to get moved up. And so then the only way to get moved down is really to come and play singles and show that you're not that caliber of player. And that's where it's different if you're a brand new player and you look and you come in and we look at what's your rating? What's your Fargo rating? Is it established, right, Jeff?
Yep. Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
So if you're brand new and you come in, you're going to go, well, I know so-and-so plays just as good as I do. Well, but so-and-so's been playing here in singles for 4 years and he can't get out of the double A's as an example. There's a difference. He's got a history of playing in it. And so we'll let him keep playing in the double A's. So, but if you're brand new, we're going to rank you where your number is. So
seems fair enough.
But Jeff puts a lot of work into all that. And it's a thankless job because a lot of people, come and complain and everything, but I appreciate everything he does. He's good at looking these numbers up, knowing people and remembering ratings on people and justifying it. And I think he does a great job.
Well, thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. It's sure a lot of coin flipping, I'll tell you that.
That's a good line, sir. That is a good line. I like that. So at this point, why don't you guys give a shout out to all the rest of the board members and all the rest of the people who helped make this tournament go smoothly that are behind the scenes, so we can at least give them a thanks for the tournament they helped put on.
Well, I'll go through it first, Jeff, and then I'll let you catch who I missed because I'm going to miss somebody. But I guess as far as, like I said already, Jeff, with all that he does with the stats and the ratings and everything with the entry forms. It's all the little bitty details that go into it every year. And, you think it's that easy, but it's not. Making sure everything's accurate and as many eyes as you have looked at it, you still try, you end up missing a little something. But so the job that Jeff does, Kim Silber as secretary with everything she does up there, helping run the desk area when the rest of us are playing some pool. Beth Voskel as the treasurer with making sure we have enough money on hand, keeping track of all that, getting everybody's tax forms and everything. So Bonnie Hunkins as trustee, and then Dean Raisler as tournament director and helping secure the venues and work out the deals and just, trying to do what we can to get money added back in the event. And then even, Doug Garn as the head of referees and all the referees, and I don't even know all their names, Jeff. They came in. They had guys come in from Oklahoma this year again, and I thought they did a really nice job. And also, is it Jay? Is that his name? From John Stitch, who was setting the tables up. So
Jet.
Who else? Jet? Is it?
Yep, Jet.
Who else did I forget?
The referees' names, that was Bill Donahue and Dwayne Payne that came from Oklahoma. They're both CSI certified referees. They probably ref the CSI International Championships every year in Vegas, as well as probably the black and gold events in the Western BCA events.
Okay.
Kevin, I'm not sure of his name. Darren Hamilton, or Kevin's last name. Darren Hamilton from Iowa. I think those were and Jet actually did some reffing too. Doobie with table set up as well. He's one of John Stitch's crew. Dean's crew is Steve Martin, Jr. and Senior. And then, of course, Dan Sharon Brock. Who else? Actually, we kind of had that emergency with the lift on Wednesday. We needed some people to push tables, basically a quarter mile from the convention center into the hotel. And I know Mason and Kendall came, and I believe MH also came from Mad Apple.
Okay.
Susie Quall actually came Tuesday evening and kind of looked over the venue and gave some directions on parking, and she was one of the familiar faces, or she was very familiar with Appleton, so she gave some people some tips and pointers on parking, etc. And actually on stream, I saw her a lot updating who's on stream and what the score is as much as she could. Who else? Maggie Jacoby, our raffle girl. She's been raffling shoes for us, or for Jacoby, for the last 3 or 4 years, I think. She does a great job for us. I think that's about it. I hope I didn't forget anybody. But mainly, Stitch's crew and Dean's crew for, those guys work. A lot of people don't know this, but those guys get there early Monday morning, and they're basically putting in 10-plus hour days. They'll probably yell at me because it's probably way more than that. They're putting in just crazy amounts of hours Monday through Wednesday, literally up until, I think they were still setting up tables until like Wednesday evening or even Thursday in the other rooms. So there's just so much work that goes into that, and we can't thank those guys.
And that's part of being at a new venue and the issues. And I know, like you said, they had an issue unloading their truck there, and there was something, so hopefully in the future we don't have as much problem there. But you're right. There's a lot that went into that venue to setting it all up. And these guys, behind the scenes, you come in to play and you're asking where the brackets are. Well, there's a lot of work being done. In some of these venues, you can't get in there. You can't only, there's a certain time where they say, okay, now you can come in and start setting up. You can't come in on Sunday and start setting up. They'll have other events going on. So you have to wait until they're done with that. They get it cleaned up, and then they give you permission to get in there. And so we have to work with that. And then the same as tearing it down and getting it out of there. They have plans. They're renting those spaces out, starting the next week, and they need to use them. So we have to have stuff out of there. So those guys spend some long nights, work long days setting up, and then tearing it all down again. So it's a lot of work.
And also Angela Coombs, our photographer. She's from the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. You guys can find her photos on the WSPA Facebook. The WSPApool.com. You can find a link to her page there and purchase some of the photos.
And I thought she did a great job. I saw some friends of mine's pictures on there, and I'm like, oh, the one he was doing a jump shot. The cue ball was in midair going over the ball, and what a great shot of him shooting that jump shot. I don't know. It doesn't even matter if he made it. He got a great shot of himself shooting the jump shot and the ball at the tournament. So I got to remind him that that's on there. So
How about that? How about that one guy who had to be Jennifer Bretta's caretaker since nobody else could do it?
Oh, who was that again? Who was the guy who went to work and made sure that Jennifer had? Hey, did she have a good time, Nate, with you out there?
I think she did. I know I heckled her and I made her miss some balls, but she had at least enough fun to hang around with me afterwards and play a game of jump horse with me, since we had about every jump cue known to man between the two of us.
I didn't get. We were playing then, and stuff was going on, and so I saw her out there. I thought she looked like she was kind of tired when she was there the first night. And I thought she's probably had a long day, but I thought she was a real trooper and hung in there. And I didn't get a chance to talk to people, but I hope they had a great time with her there. And I appreciate you spending time with her and making her feel comfortable and keeping her entertained out there with everything going on.
Yeah, it was a treat. She's
real sorry to put you through that, Nate. I bet she hated it.
Yeah, she was a treat. She's got a real good personality. That's I guess when you are a celebrity like that, you kind of got to put on your working face. But I got to talk to her a little bit as a human being, and she seems to be a treat to be around. She was fun.
Where's her hometown? I don't know where she calls home then.
New York City.
New York, okay. And then I thought Scott Quimby did a great job introducing her.
Yeah, I got hyped.
Yeah, that was really neat.
We got to thank Danya Bundy for singing the national anthem. I thought she did a great job too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways, I don't have anything else to cover right now.
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good. I think we got a pretty good podcast with everything that you guys do and all of the work that goes into these events. And about a year ago, we did an event for this. The last time you guys had a WSPA event, and we actually talked a little bit about the history of the WSPA and where it came from and all of the things that started with that. So if you are a listener to the podcast more recently and you are more interested in what the WSPA actually is, the WSPA, you can head back into the feed way back in the beginning of time when the podcast first started, and you can find that and listen to what the WSPA actually is as an organization. So other than that, I thank you guys for joining me again this year, and probably until next year.
All right. Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, see you guys.
Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. If you like what you've heard and you listen through iTunes, please subscribe and leave a rating. It helps others find the podcast. As always, thank you to our sponsors, Jacoby Custom Cues, Cody's Cue Therapy, Jeff Glaz's CBD for Life Global, the Wisconsin Billiards Hall of Fame, the Rocks Sports Bar and Grill, the IQ Practice Cue Ball, and the Wisconsin Pool Player Society. If you like what you hear, consider supporting the people who support the podcast. I would also like to take this time to thank Matt Kitzman, Robert Miller, Natasha, Kurt Elliott, Scott Doolian, Corey Smith, William Sutherland, and Mike Teasy for their help to market the podcast to a larger audience. Lastly, I would like to thank my cousin Andrew Mindham for his band Hey Captain Night's music as segment and filler music to the podcast. If you like what you hear, you can find all of his music at heycaptainnight.bandcamp.com. And Night is KNIGHT.